I'm Richard Southern in the 680 newsroom with a look back at the big business news stories of the past week. It was a money-losing week for Bay Street. The TSX falling overall as the price of gold tumbled. The yellow metal really losing its shine amid growing expectations that U.S. interest rates will be going up by year's end. That expectation driven by some strong U.S. economic news this week. Gold tends to do better in low interest rate environments. So gold hitting a 4-month low, and that really dragged down the mining stocks on Bay Street. Price of oil surging above $50 for the first time since June, driven partly by Hurricane Matthew, concerns about the storm perhaps disrupting crude supplies, but also oil's been moving higher on the expectation that OPEC, the oil cartel, will cut back on crude production levels. Well, we're getting close to the U.S. election. It is coming up next month, and Royal Bank did an analysis about Donald Trump's promises and how they relate to Canada, and it found that there could actually be quite a few positives to a President Donald Trump. Among them, stronger U.S. growth driven by tax cuts and potential infrastructure spending. That could help Canada. Higher oil prices driven by potential conflicts with the Mideast. Trump has pledged to approve the Keystone XL pipeline, and RBC says that could improve Canadian access to U.S. market and to get Canada better prices for its oil. As well, strict immigration policies under Trump could improve Canada's access to the immigration labor pool. Negatives for a President Trump for Canada would be a reduction in the U.S. corporate tax rate, which would weaken Canada's competitive position. As well, the potential renegotiation of NAFTA could be a negative for Canada as well. But overall, according to RBC, more positives for a Trump presidency than negative ones when it comes to the Great White North. Well, did you go out to see a movie today? You may have paid a little bit more than you did the other week, and that's because Cineplex did hike prices, not by much, but the reason they did it is interesting. So Canada's largest theater chain telling me in a written statement this past week that prices at some theaters, not all, have gone up between 22 and 51 cents per ticket. The reason they did this, they say, was because of the minimum wage going up in many provinces last week. Alberta's minimum wage, $12.20. Here in Ontario, it's $11.70. And Cineplex employs some 13,000 people, 89% of which are hourly workers. September housing numbers in for the GTA, and September another massive month. Let's take a look at this. Sales were up 21.5% overall. Average selling price getting close to $756,000, up more than 20%. Average detached price getting very close to $1.3 million. The biggest price gains came in the 905, where prices were up 26.6%. Some speculate this could be the top of the market, though. Finance Minister Bill Morneau announcing some new measures this past week to try and cool the housing market, including the closure of some tax loopholes. Finally, if you're trying to sell your house, there are some surprising things that can hurt the value of the home. First off, cracks in the pavement. You may not pay much attention to the wear and tear on your driveway, but appraisers will. Experts say consider resealing the driveway before you list the house. A pool, it's notorious for killing home value. Most buyers fear the maintenance and additional cost associated with it. A bad neighbor, appraisers actually say that living within 1/10 of a mile of a registered sex offender can devalue your home. People do look at that information. Siding, buyers prefer not to buy a house with aluminum siding anymore. And finally, wood paneling. Remember, it used to be the in thing for basements and rec rooms. That was decades ago. It's not so in anymore. In the 680 newsroom, Richard Southern, City News.